Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank all of you for being here. This is an extremely important subject, and we appreciate all of your efforts in this area. I have the honor and privilege of representing the coast of Georgia, and we have two major seaports, the Port of Savannah and the Port of Brunswick. So this is of importance to us, and I wanted to start with you, Ms. Burkle, and ask you if you could just help me to understand how CPSC works with. It's my understanding you work with CBP to intercept potentially harmful shipments that are coming through our ports. I'm a little bit uneducated in this area, if you could just help me.
Thank you very much for your question, Congressman Carter. The CPSC is very engaged, and we have a very robust relationship with CBP. We are co-located at about 26 ports, major ports throughout the country. And we also work with them at CTAC, along with some other government agencies as well. Any government agency that has an interest in products coming into the country. And so in that process, we have what I referred to earlier was a risk assessment methodology. That is information, that is a system we have set up on algorithms to look at products coming into the country to see if they rise to a certain level, if it's a new importer, if they have a previous history, and that's how we identify products coming into the port. So our compliance officers who are at the various ports, we do not have the authority to seize the product, but CBP does, but then we will conduct any inspection. We do a lot of on-site testing. We do a lot of XRF technologies and identifying whether or not there's violative products coming in. And many of those products then will go to our lab in Rockville, Maryland for further testing.
One of the ports that we have in our district is Port of Savannah, which is the second largest container port on the eastern seaboard. So this is extremely important to us. And as I understand, you've had some success, I believe, in 2017 in the port of Charleston, that there were a shipment of toy scooters that were found to have high levels of lead contamination. So that would be an example of something you're talking about?
That would be a very good example of it, and there are multiple other examples. And I am hopeful that all of the efforts at the ports where products are coming in may be one of the reasons why our recall numbers could be. I'm just speculating here, but I think we should really understand when we stop products from coming into the country that are dangerous, they never get into the consumer's hands, and therefore a recall isn't necessary. And that, to me, prevention is the most important part of that.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to add to that because this deals with the Port of Savannah. I worked with a small business in Georgia who had a product that they identified as being counterfeit and was coming in only at the Port of Savannah. So they gave me a description and a sheet of paper that showed the product, what color it comes in and what it doesn't, and how it's packaged. And anything else was not the product, should not be coming in. So I was able to take that down to our to the people who work at the port. They were able to talk with their co-workers at CBP. And when they opened a box and saw this particular product was pink and not red, it's a non-compliant product, and they were able to stop it. So not all of the things that we're doing are high tech, but they do work. But I thought that would be a good example, particularly in your jurisdiction.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. This past weekend, I had the opportunity to travel with the Port Caucus here in Congress to Antwerp, Belgium, and they were showing us some of the products. In fact, they had one was somewhat comical. It was Adidas that had been spelled Abibus. So I hope that y'all catch something like that, but nevertheless, I've got just about a minute left. The 6B program, I guess that's a program that's very important, particularly for manufacturers too, so that they aren't necessarily, so that they have the opportunity to make sure that they are guilty or at least they're innocent until proven guilty. So can you just very briefly, Ms. Burkle, explain the 6B program?
Sure. Congress and CPSA and then CPSIA address the issue of making sure that the information that we put out is fair and accurate, and that is the 6B protection. I know that there's a lot of discussion about 6B and the value of 6B because also in CPSIA, Congress also developed and implemented a saferproducts.gov website, and I think that affords the consumer the ability to go in and to search and to be able to access information about safety data. So I hope that there's a good balance there, but if Congress wants to change that authority, that is their decision.
Okay. Well, thank you very much again. Thank all of you for your work in this area. It's extremely important in the 1st District of Georgia as well. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.